Hello everyone, and welcome to the last prompt of Roxy's Journal of Stitchery volume 3. Is that right? 3? I think we're up to 3. So the prompt for this week is, like last time, the last prompt is going to be choose your own adventure. We were originally going to give you a prompt which was going to be a garden, tea party or picnic. But we thought it would be a good idea to let you have some free choice this week because we may have missed that prompt that you really wanted to see and it just hasn't come up. So we're going to leave that to you. You could do your garden party or your tea party or your picnic, but you can also do whatever you want. So I'm pretty much doing whatever I want. I have a lot of bits and pieces to complete. So mine is not going to be something specific. It's going to be a lot of random things as I start trying to finish off this piece because I've still got a lot of work to do. So the first thing is I had this really lovely embroidery and I've cut that down and I'm thinking of putting that like there somewhere. And I do have this lovely cottage that also came from the same embroidery, but it's facing the wrong direction. So I'm thinking I will eventually go back to the beginning. I've still got gaps and things to do. I'm going to add a bit more greenery and add my cottage at the start. So it's the start of my wildflowers. I haven't done a title yet. So in some space there I may add a title as well, but we'll see. So I'm not going to work on that one tonight. I'm going to work on embellishing this space a little bit. So the first thing I want to say, we've got some lovely bits and pieces from a friend of ours, Faye. And she has hand dyed a lot of bits and pieces and gorgeous stitching. So I want to use some of her pretty pieces that she gave us to make a bit of a flower cluster. I will play around with that till I get the positioning I like. I had it before. I liked it. What did I do? Okay, something like that. I'm going to stitch that cluster down. And then what I wanted to do is a little bit inspired by Julie Arkle. I want to make a fabric flower here to go along with this flower, and I'm going to build this up a bit. So I've got some hand-dyed rickrack, which I'm going to sew down. And then all I've done is I've cut out some petals and I've deliberately scrunched them up and frayed them and pulled bits and pieces, and I'm going to make a flower. Okay, so I'll just show you so they're all scrunched up. I've added a couple of coloured ones in, but mostly the petals are blue. So just to give you an idea, I was thinking 9 petals. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'll add 8. I will stitch them all down so it will look okay. And that will be my flower, and it could have, I think it needs a coloured centre. I like that. And then maybe a button on top, so a bit layered. And these aren't going to be stitched down, I'm just going to stitch the ends down. And then I've made a leaf, which I'm going to play around with to add that on, add some dimension there. And then I'm just going to show you the layout so you get the idea. And then my thought was to add this pretty bit of embroidery which has a lovely bird's house, which would have been perfect for the last prompt. And I thought I'd make a few more flowers out of some old Suffolk puffs, which I'm going to sort of destroy and wreck up. So we've got a little dimensional flower cluster, and also once I finish sewing that as well. So that's what my piece is going to look like in this section. And then I do have a lot more to do, but this is what I'm going to work on tonight. I'm not going to get all this done, but I'm going to maybe show you how I stitch this flower. Okay, so taking all these lovely bits and pieces, it gives it nice dimension over here. I can take all this off. Starting with my rickrack, just laying it down. I have some green wool. I'm using a milliner's needle just because I like threading them because they're nice and easy to thread. And all I'm going to do is stitch, I think I'm just going to stitch like this across my rickrack. Let me get this going in the pattern I like. I was thinking of just doing this kind of thing. So just like where I'm doing a V. Straight stitches, very simple. I just have to keep making sure I straighten that. I could pin it. That could be a good idea, but no. I'm going to pin it. I'm just going to hold it. So I guess it's similar to couching it, but I'm not doing straight stitches. I'm kind of doing a V up the rickrack, going with the pattern of the rickrack. So just so you know, I have a lot of flowers that I want to stitch. There's a lot of embroidery I need to do. This is going to take me a long time. I am on holidays in... not this week, I've got one more week of school after this, and then I'm on holidays for a few weeks. So I do plan on getting a bit of this done. Plus, we will be starting our new project, which will be at the start of the holidays for me, which is good because I'll have some time to get some stuff done. So that is the plan. But next week what I will show you is how I would add this onto my spool. I will show you in theory how I would do it. I'm not obviously going to add it yet because I have more work to do. But when I actually get this done, which will be a while because everything takes me a while. I actually haven't even finished my Christmas one yet. When I actually get it done, I will make sure that I make a video to show you. I want to take the time to just get it done the way I want because there's so much more stitching rather than just doing a half-assed job and finishing it for the sake of finishing it. I'll just say one person who I like following, and I've done one of her classes and have some of her kits, is Sue Spargo. If you have a look on her YouTube channel, she's actually posted a sew along recently where she's done a lot of really cool flowers. So if you've got some spaces to fill, if you've got like quite a big one like me and you need to fill up some space, it's not a bad idea to have a look at some of Sue's ideas. She shows you how she stitches different flowers and her techniques are amazing. So you'll learn a lot. As I mentioned before, she's the one who taught me the drizzle stitch. All right, so that will do, because now I'm going to sew the petals. So it doesn't matter it's sticking up there because my petals are coming down. So this is what I'm going to do with my petals. I just have normal white cotton. Where's my white cotton? Just this kind of thing. And as I said, I want to do 9. Let me just move everything out of the way. Where's my petals? Okay, so we'll grab one, decide which way it's going to go. And so when I've cut these out, you might be able to see on this one's a bit better. So I've literally just cut it in a little bit, come out in a petal shape and come back in. So I need to find my slightly thinner end and I'm just going to gather it up like that. And let's get my needle through first. Okay, so all I want to stitch down is the little gathered part and leave the petal floating around. So it will fray, but I'm happy for that to happen. Julie Arkle does these in gorgeous bits of old fabric and bits of old quilt. Just look her up on Pinterest, favorite place to go. So I am obviously inspired by her, but there are other people who have done sort of fabric flowers as well. I'm not doing it with old quilt bits, but it would look great with old quilt bits. So it's going to look messy until I get my Suffolk puff in the middle. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so just layering my next one, gathering it up. Now you won't see these stitches, they will be covered by the Suffolk puff. So it doesn't matter how, oh gosh, how, I got a little knot, how messy it looks, because you're not going to see it. Sometimes it's very awkward stitching on camera, because I wouldn't always leave my piece flat on a table like this, and I'm trying to stay on screen and mindful of doing that whilst trying to keep it down so you can see what I'm doing, but it gets a bit awkward and I feel a bit uncoordinated sometimes, more so than usual. Okay, so we've got 2 petals in place, and I'm going for the odd number of petals, which is 9, which you often get in nature anyway. I want to move them out a little bit. I don't want to come too close into the middle because the Suffolk puff will cover the petals too much if I do that. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm spreading out because some of these I've got 2 of one. Hopefully I squeeze in all my 9 petals. Kind of like how they're all squished up. Gives them texture. Okay, can I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I need to get 4 in that space. That's a lot. If it doesn't work, I won't stress. If I do end up with some even numbers, I'm not going to get 4. I might actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I might go for 7, not 9. It looks like it's going to be a better fit. Oops. I don't know what Rach is doing. Haven't spoken to you tonight, Rach. Probably need to give you a call. Haven't spoken to you for a week or 2 even. But I'm excited to see what you do. And hopefully you remember that we changed it to Choose Your Own Adventure. Because as I said, we were going for the picnic tea party theme. So let's think of some things you could do. I know someone said they'd love to do a rock garden. That might tickle your fancy, or you might want to do a rose garden or a more structured, formal flower garden. You might decide that you'd like a fairy in your garden. You haven't done or added your little house or cottage if that's something you want. Certainly not something you have to have, but that might be something you'd like. I know a few people have added them already. You may be like me where you really just got to fill in some gaps and you'll just make things up as you go. As I said, I do want to add some butterflies and bees, etc., bugs, maybe a frog, grasshopper, dragonfly, that kind of thing. So I'd like to add some embroidered ones of them. So yeah, you could just be like me where you're adding in lots of bits and pieces to finish off your work to the point where you think you're done. So totally up to you. All right, there's my wonky flower. And now I was going for the orange center or the multicolored. Oh, I don't mind the green. Yeah, I don't mind the green. Or is it too much green? I've got so much green. I've got a plain red one. Yeah, that looks good too. You can see the stitches on it. I actually want to, I'm going to stitch down and then I'm going to show you what I want to do to it. I want to rough it up. I want this all to be rough. So I am going to simply place it down. And I think I might just do stitches in the, whoops, I've unthreaded, stitches in the middle. Let me see. Because I've got an idea of something I want to do. Okay, so let's see what it's like just doing a whole bunch of stitches to hold in the middle. Now I was planning on putting a button over the top, so you won't see all these stitches. But I'm getting layers to my flower center. Okay, so that middle piece is secured. And then I do want to flatten it down a little bit, not right to the edge. So, because it's a Suffolk puff and it's got folds, I want to hide the stitches. So I'm just going to come inside the folds and small stitches. See, I could switch to a red thread, that would be better, but if I do little tiny stitches, you're not really going to see them too well, which is my plan. And it doesn't have to be in every fold, just every now and then where you think you need one. Now I think for tonight I'm only going to do, last week I remember was a long video, so I think I'm going to do a short video. I've shown you some ideas that I'll be able to work on, and then next week I'll come back and show you some more. I think I'll just do this flower for tonight. Another person who inspires me with the fabric flowers is Viv from Hen's Teeth. I love the way she makes the flowers out of Suffolk puffs, and that's what I want to add some as well, some Suffolk puffs flowers. Viv is who I bought this from, this little needle case which I've shown before, with old quilt on the inside. She's very creative. She does paintings as well, like little ones, and paints on fabric and stuff like that. Almost there. Oops, looped my petal. Lost that petal a little bit. I needed to move it down, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. so just finish off on the back, and then I'll show you what my idea is before I add my button. And I need to go find my button because I know the specific type of button I want to use. I have to find one. Okay, so what I was thinking is that I want to rough up the Suffolk puff, so I'm actually going to snip it around the edge and rough it up. I'll show you in a sec. And I want it to fray. I want the weathered look, the worn, the old look, like the petals. All right. So let's see if I've snipped the whole thing. Yep, looks like I have. And then I could get, say, a needle, and I could just work the fibers, because I do want it to fray. It's too neat at the moment. I want a sharper one. Let's try this one. And it's starting to fray. So that will become more and more and more frayed as I play around with it and touch it and use it. And you can see I'm starting to get some fraying there. So I want that to look old. So that will fray up, and I'm just going to pause you for a sec while I find the button I was thinking of, and then I want to add my leaf and show you what I was going to do with my leaf. Okay, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back, and I have found the tin that I think I need. So these are where all my special buttons are. These are my lovely ones that I got from our friend Pam. There's some gorgeous ones in here. In fact, some of these will go into my treasure. Pam, I'm definitely going to use some of your buttons. Look at that one. That one might have to go in, that special one. Okay, so the buttons I'm wanting are like the fabric ones, but I think a bigger one. So like that size, but an older one. That one. Look, I've got some great ones to put in my treasures. Didn't think to look in my special button box. So many great ones. Yeah, these are just special buttons. Some have been given to me. Some I've collected. I know there's lots from Pam in there, so I'm going to use some of them. Lots of my pearl ones as well. All right, so, and all my buttons in old quality street tins, like Granny. All right, so this is the kind of button I wanted to add on. Quite a nice big one. You can't see the gathering of the Suffolk puff, so you're not going to see that stitching. Where did I put my needle? Well, actually, I want to put a colour. Why don't I just do the green wool? That will go well. Okay. So just get it in the middle, hold it down, and just stitch down my button. Getting a few stitches on so that you see the nice green wool. So if you only do one stitch like that, you can't really see it very well, and I want it to stand out more. Easy to get this needle through because of the because it's a milliner's. Although just there I'm actually going through the rolls of the Suffolk puff, and it's quite thick, but it's still easy to pull through. And I think one more stitch will do. What have I done? Hang on. That's enough wool chunkiness. And I think I'm going to do the same wool for the leaf. So let's have a go at the leaf, and then that one's really short. Pull it out a bit. I think that's a bit better. Okay. Thinking you could do 2 leaves. I might do 2. We'll see. I was just thinking on my leaf, because I haven't even ironed my fabric. It's one that I hand dyed. Here's a scrap of it. I think I'm going to do canthus stitching on it. A nice piece of old green quilt would also look good as your leaf. I just couldn't find my green quilt pieces, my old ones. So I'm just switching around so I can stitch on the other direction. Sorry, just off camera for a sec. It's just threading it through. Doesn't take too long to stitch this one down. It's only a small leaf. Okay, now I need to just come over and do this, finish this side. You could also needle turn applique a leaf as well if you want neater edges. Almost done. Oops, oh, so sorry. I just bumped you. Okay. Just finish it off on the back and then I'll show you up close. I'll give you a close up. And oh my God, so just bumped you again. Oh my gosh. I'm going to show you up close and then I'm done for tonight. All right. I won't bump you this time, I promise. I'll just focus you though. Hang on. Okay, I did bump you. Sorry. Okay, there's my crazy flower. Let's focus you so you get an idea. So it's actually got lots of lovely dimension. And then, to get myself sorted here, I'm all over the shop. And then recap, I'm going to stitch down the lovely silk hand dyed flowers and lovely felted flowers, a little cluster there. That's really pretty. I might put some beads in the middle as well on that one to go with them all. And then my next thing was going to be, I think I'll add in some Suffolk puff flowers as well. So a little flower garden going on before I get to my extra birdhouse that will go there. So my little flowers will fit in around that somehow. All right, so I hope you like seeing, just focus you a bit better, seeing what I've come up with for this week. And I look forward to seeing what your Choose Your Own Adventure is going to be. Thanks for watching. Bye.